Welcome back. France and the favourites going in tomorrow's World Cup final. We have had a plethora of animals throughout the tournament making their predictions.
On the show?
Yes. Yeah, we've had R2-D2.
Oh, I thought you meant in the studio.
No, we've just had
plethora of animals.
Well, yeah, oh, no, that's good. So this is Cleopatra the tapir in a Russian zoo.
What's a tapir?
Well, this thing, obviously, is a tapir.
I wouldn't have it at home.
Where's Mara's been recently?
Wow! Oh, boy. Bravo, you've been with us for too long.
Not enough teeth.
The tapir picked Croatia.
Got a big enough nose, but it's not got enough teeth. Teeth.
Is that naughty?
So what did it pick?
It's naughty.
What did it pick?
Croatia.
All right.
Cleopatra picked Croatia.
Cleopatra?
They go into this game as underdogs. They've exceeded all expectations.
Yeah, I wish they had some money on them at that 30-1 at the start.
Does that make any difference to them psychologically going into this game, given that no matter what happens, they're winners?
They've kind of got this backs to the wall attitude, and I've talked about it from the victory over England, where they've called it arrogance from it in the English media. I don't buy into that, but they might have used it as some sort of inspiration. It's a difficult one. It's hard to see past the French victory. It's just hard, but Rakitic, Modric, Perisic are fit, and Rebic has been great in the tournament. And they've got one of the greatest defenders in the world, in Dejan Lovren, as anointed by himself. So it is possible, but I just don't think it's going to happen.
How do you approach this, then, if you're Croatia?
Well, I think they'll approach it the same way. I think they're going to have quite a lot of the ball. We've seen France defend quite deeply at times. They're not going to press the ball too high up the field, which could play into Croatia's hands because they can get on the ball. They can try and dictate the pace. They'll slow it down at the right time, try and quicken it up at the right times. It means they can get their fullbacks that little bit higher. It means the wide players can push the France fullbacks back. So if we're talking about a potential Croatian 11, Mandzukic has got to play well because he could be isolated at times. Rebic down the right-hand side, as Craig has been excellent. Hope Perisic is fit. Modric, Brozovic and Rakitic are the key. If they can win the battle in that central midfield area, then Croatia have a big chance, as long as Mandzukic comes to the fore and has a good game.
It's the oldest coaching trick ever. Nobody respects us. Nobody wants us to win. Nobody thinks that we could be here. We are not good enough to be here. We are the only ones to believe. Our people in Croatia are the only ones to believe. We are against the world, and we're going to find a way how to win, and we're going to show them. In any sport, at any point, there's always that underdog storyline, and it's playing out with Croatia. And so now they're grabbing onto things like the arrogance of the English, or it's coming home, or it's not coming home, and all these things. Guys like Modric and Rakitic getting involved with this sort of behavior, if you will, it's because they're buying into it as well. Right? And this storyline and this rhetoric and this feeling inside the locker room, it only has to last one more day. Right? That feeling of it's us against everybody else has to last one more day. So regardless of what we think, if they believe it possible, then now you just have to execute.
And they will believe, won't they?
Yeah, no, of course they would. Of course they would. You don't get this far without thinking that you're very capable of doing this. And then you'll start thinking about certain things that come up. Is people are saying, well, if Modric controls the midfield and Croatia wins, does that mean that he's the best player in the tournament? Or is Kante against Modric? And who does well there in that matchup? It actually could be a very key matchup in that if Kante is able to cut out what they do in the midfield for Croatia and is able to disrupt their possession, then yes, France has an advantage because then Croatia cannot manage the game the way that you were talking about. For me, it's France because I think they have superior talent and because defensively they have been so solid and because they have too many game changers on the other side of the field. Croatia doesn't have a Kylian Mbappe. His speed can certainly do things for you that you cannot do for Croatia. Mandzukic cannot run past people. He can beat you other ways, but not the way that they can, being more direct. I think that matchup between Kante and Modric will be key. And I think France, because of how defensive they have been and how well organized they have been, and then the game in transition, they will win this match.
If it plays out the way it might during the game, and Rebic and Perisic, if fit, can push back Pavard and Hernandez, Strinic and Vrsaljko could, and Robbo's going to, if this happens, Robbo will be in dreamland. Those fullbacks could be key again, because it'll be a 3-against-3 matchup in the middle of the park. And the amount of space they'll get will depend, one, if they can boss the game in the middle, and two, how Griezmann and Mbappe approach the defensive side of the game. If they approach that in a kind of And I would.
Well, Griezmann doesn't play wide. He's almost going to play up centre forward. So Vesalco could have the freedom of the park.
But somebody is going to have to go out there.
It'll be Matuidi has to go out there and.
Well, that's going to leave him
and then outnumbered in central midfield.
So the fullbacks, as they were against England, the fullbacks were killing England as the game went on. They could have a big say again tomorrow if Deschamps gets it tactically incorrect, or the players don't bother to track the fullbacks forward, and Stewart and Vesalco will go every time and they'll sling balls into the box. That's what they'll hope to get, because Mandzukic will feed on that. Because as Ali said, he's not going to run away from Umtiti and Varane. He's going to rely on getting supply from the wider areas. A
little known fact about Gab Marcotti, he loves to be the first in the stadium, so he's already queuing for tomorrow's match. Gab, what sort of match, what sort of game are you expecting?
I think the boys pretty much photographed it, right? We've seen France play on the counter. They could theoretically beat you so many different ways, but Didier Deschamps is a pretty conservative guy. So, hey, if you can unleash Mbappe and Griezmann on the break, why not do it? And then if it doesn't work out for you, you still have the big guns. You can try something else. And Croatia, as you said, as Ali said before, they fully embrace this underdog story, and good for them, because I think back to my own judgment of them before the tournament, what a lot of people were saying. And it was all the same stuff, right? I mean, Modric had the perjury trial. Rakitic had the bad hair. Lovren was Lovren. He was terrible. Vida looks like a fool. Strinic didn't have was released by his club, was unwanted. Mandzukic rejected by Guardiola and Diego Simeone. Perisic too inconsistent. Brozovic too crazy. Milan Bade unattached. All these guys, top to bottom. Ante Rebic is a guy who runs and runs and runs and runs, but then can't do anything with the ball. On and on and on and on. Right? This is all we heard.
That was just your piece, Gab. That was just your piece.
He's the guy who couldn't get a job anywhere. He had to go to the Gulf to get a job.
Gab, save this.
And this is what they're saying. This is what they're telling themselves, and they're here.
Gab, save this for your dinner that you're going to.
No, Gab's just going to be shouting that until kickoff outside the stadium. But who's going to win it, Gab?
I think it's fantastic, guys. I think it's awesome.
What's your prediction for this final?
Look, I mean, obviously, France are a better team, and they should win it. But I'm certainly not ruling Croatia out.
Oh, well, that's a rubbish prediction anyway. Right, so let's get some.
Go tell all that to Honigstein in the restaurant. He's waiting for you.
Go on then.
I'm going to go for France by the odd goal, 2-1.
2-1.
France by 1-0. France. 1-0.
France.
1-0 as well.
Although I do need Croatia to win if I have any chance to win the predictor.
That's getting tight, isn't it?
Because we all picked England the other day as well.
Yes, you did all pick England. Yeah, indeed. Apart from Gab.